Hi there, everyone. Good to see you. It's Tim Topham here, and today's little Facebook Live, which I'll start in just a couple of minutes, is all about season 3 of the podcast, which goes live in a few weeks actually. So August 3, and I'll talk more about that in just a moment. Hopefully, we'll have a few people jumping on live. Otherwise, you might be watching this as a replay, which is great. So either way, make sure you say hi if you're signing in. Just let me know that you're there, and if you've got any questions, of course, pop them in the comments box. And I'm always happy with a thumbs up or a heart, depending on how you're feeling when you're watching this. So it's early morning here in Australia, probably middle of the night in Europe, and in the afternoon in America, and my cat's obviously awake over there. If you can hear him, I should say. So. What I'm working on at the moment, just while we wait for a couple more people to join us, I'm working at the moment on podcast season 3. So I'm just doing a lot of the interviews this week, and I tend to batch record these in a bit of a block, and then we release them over the course of the season. And obviously creating some more blog posts, some more great member content as well. And I'm going to give you a very important little sneak peek about something that's coming up later in August, which involves this fella here. I'm not sure if anyone knows who this guy is, but he's a great friend of mine and one of the superstars of creative piano. And he's actually going to be coming on and joining me on a project in August. Stand by. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that later on. And if you weren't too sure who that was, that is Forrest Kinney, of course. So if you're interested in Forrest's work and you like what he does, give us a bit of a thumbs up or a heart, because his stuff is superb, and I can't wait to be teaming up with him on a bit of a project coming up soon. All right. So good to see a few people on live. Do say hi, as I said. Be great to see who is there. So season 2. Firstly, before we get on to the new season, was really, really popular. And in particular, the interview with John Schmidt, which was my first celeb interview. I was very excited to have him on board. Bronson, please stop crying. Sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. So that was great. It was one of the most popular episodes that I've recorded so far, and it was just great fun. And members, of course, can get access to the actual video recording of that interview if you're interested in our resource library. I also had Philip Keverin, the prolific arranger and composer. I can't believe all the stuff that Philip Keverin has done. So he was on. We had Danny Thompson on for a 3-part series all about business and branding and Facebook advertising and things like that. That proved to be very popular, as did Philip Johnson from here in Canberra in Australia. He's the author of a number of books that a lot of music teachers absolutely love and adore. However, he hasn't been out there all that much. He doesn't sort of get in front of the camera too often. So it was great to have him on board, and he really challenged a lot of people's thinking in that episode, which was all about piano teaching unthinkables. He mentioned, that's what he called it. And I'm really glad to hear that my fellow listeners from around the world could understand him, because he does speak very fast and he's quite Australian. So I'm glad that everyone got the message that he was sending out. And finally, Jana Carlson, one of my members who's gone on to extraordinary things, launching her own business, creating websites for music teachers. She was on the show to talk about her journey, and that was a great fun episode to put together too. It was a bit more of a story type podcast. So that was all season 2. If you haven't listened to any of those or you've missed any, then please make sure you check in with season 2. You can either head to my website, timtopham.com/podcast, or much simpler, download my app. Just search for Tim Topham in either of the app stores, and you'll be able to have a listen to the podcast episodes. All right, so thank you very much. Jennifer's here. Hi, yeah. Forrest Kinney is fabulous. So let me give you a sneak peek about what's coming up this season. So who should we start with? Let's start with this person. So over here we have the fabulous Dawn Ivers, and Dawn came on to talk on the show, or will be talking on the show, about Instagram. And Instagram is a topic that I've had lots and lots of people ask me about. Is it actually valuable in the piano studio? Can you find students with it? Or do you use it more for internal branding? And so we answer all those questions on the podcast. That's Dawn. She actually works with Shelley as well on the Piano Parent podcast. So she's got both her own private studio and a podcast Instagram feed that she works on. So she's doing great things, and that's a really great conversation. So if you're interested in Instagram for piano teachers, that's the episode to watch. Now, I wonder who knows these two beautiful ladies. Pop a comment in the box if you know who these guys are. On the episode coming up in season 3, I'm talking with these two about professional development for piano teachers, including our membership sites that we both run, and also in particular a diploma training course that they've created that links up with the ABRSM and Trinity. Does anyone know who these guys are? Pop it in the comments if you do. First one gets a prize. You get a shout out from me. It was a great conversation. I love catching up with these two, as I did in London. There's another little sneak peek, a little nugget of information about who they are. We met up in London at the Music Expo at the start of this year, and they are very curious people. Yes, Jennifer Fox, you win. Well done. So the curious piano teachers, Sally and Sharon, join me on an episode all about piano teaching professional development. It's really great fun. I have such a great... Oh, there's Sharon. Hey, Sharon. You're up on screen today. So we had a great conversation, and I can't wait to share that episode with everyone in season 3 as well. Now, who else do we have? Well, we've got this person. Now, you might not know this person's face, but she's been on my podcast before. She's a teacher over in Perth, Western Australia, and she is doing some very, very cool things. And she's one of those teachers who just puts herself out there and pretty much says yes to anything and tries just about anything as well. She's amazing. Her name is Annie Boonton, or Anastasia, and she comes on the podcast to talk all about hiring her first teacher. So she's obviously a young teacher, just building her studio. She's got great momentum already, and she wanted to focus a little bit more on performing and cut down her teaching hours a little bit. So she decided to hire her first teacher. So who did she hire? How did it go? How did she find that person? When did she decide that it was the right time to hire someone? Did she hire a studio, or is she traveling? How's it all working? That's what we talk about in the episode with Annie, all about hiring your first piano teacher. It was a fun conversation, and I know you're going to get lots out of it. Regardless of where you're at with your teaching, I think you're going to enjoy that episode with Annie. And she'll actually be on in season 4 as well, because she's done this amazing thing. She put her hand up to accept, having never done this before, teaching a blind student. Yes, blind student, completely unable to read or see anything, and she said, "Yep, I'll try it out." And so we talk about reading Braille music on piano, how to teach someone who can't see, and when you can't point at the music or write on their score, what do you do? It's a fabulous conversation. I recorded it at the same time as I recorded her season 3 interview. That will be released in season 4. So if you have any questions about teaching special needs students, in particular partially sighted or completely blind students, then that is a conversation that you're going to not want to miss. I learned so much. I'm just in awe of Annie and all that she's doing. She's a superstar. Okie doke. So who knows this guy? Also on this next coming season. So first person wins a bit of a shout out from me. This guy is pretty well known on YouTube. He's got a pretty cool hairdo, as you can see in the picture. He is a concert pianist, but he's a concert pianist who is really happy to share all his strategies and tactics around practice and how he does, how he gets the hardest music and simplifies it so that he can learn it. He actually shares this with people on YouTube. So who is it? Does anyone recognize him? As I say, big popular YouTube following, and we talk about a number of things to do with practice and motivation, but also we focus a lot on building a YouTube tribe. So if you're interested in how to use YouTube in your piano studio, and not just for building a big tribe, but just for uploading videos of you and your teaching, so students can reference that, then that's actually how this guy started. Yes, The Musical Mountaineers, Josh Wright. You guys win that prize. So Josh Wright is on the podcast season 3. He was so good, and he's actually at the piano. And so he kept sort of turning around and just, playing a bit of the hardest Rachmaninoff, Rack 3, just a bit of the concerto. Oh, here's how you do this, and then he'd play some Liszt thing, which was incredibly hard. So I felt like I needed to do some serious practice. And that's always a good thing, right? For us as teachers, I think, just to be reminded that we could always do a bit more practice. So Josh is on. We have this great conversation particularly about YouTube, but also about how he's monetizing his own skills with tutorials and videos and courses as well online. So that's a really great discussion too. Okie doke. Who have we got next? All right. Now, here's another person whose blog you might have read, but you might not have seen her face. She's a Kiwi teacher, so she's from New Zealand. Don't hold that against her. She lived in London for about 10 years before moving back to New Zealand, where she grew up. And she was working in at music sales in publishing. And she has created a fabulous blog. She's written for my blog a number of times. Oh, Jennifer Fox, you are on the ball. Yes, this is Ruth Power. So Ruth is on the show to talk about playing by ear because she's released some training for students. She releases courses for students online, and the latest one is called Songs by Ear. And so we have a great conversation around teaching music by ear. We talk about her oral boot camp or her ear training boot camp. And some of the ideas that you can pick up as a teacher that you can do to get started with teaching, listing skills and playing skills. And we also talk a little bit about getting our students to sing in the studio. It's just great hearing her story. Ruth is on as well. Superstar. There you go. Good to see you, Ruth. So great fun talking with you, Ruth, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that one with everyone too. Okie doke. Now we've only got, who have we got left? We've got 2 people left. So next one is this person. Right, first to guess this. Jennifer, you're out. You've been the person in the front of the classroom who's put their hand up every time, so I'm not going to choose you anymore. Who is this beautiful person here? She is on to talk about teaching teenagers, and particularly teenage beginners, because she has created a great method. Well, the Musical Mountaineers she's got it. Yes. Hey, the Musical Mountaineers, could you tell me what your name is? I'd love to know who that is. I'm sure it's a name I'll be familiar with. You're absolutely correct. It is Jennifer Eklund, and she has created a super teenage beginner method that I want to share with everyone, and just talk generally about teaching teenage beginners because they are a real microcosm. They are a different set of kids to teach, and you have to do things differently. The things that you do with 7, 8, 9-year-olds will not work with teenage beginners. Let me just put that out there right now. And the same with books. They won't really enjoy books with colouring pages and lions and things like that. They may put up with it, but they don't enjoy it. And so I think we can do much better than that. And there are now great resources out there for teenage beginners, specially designed for that age group. Jennifer's got one of them, and we're going to explore that in our season 3 interview. Oh, Jennifer Eklund, you're on as well. How you guys are all amazing. I didn't even plan this. I'm totally blown away you guys are all on here. Hi, Rose. There you go. Nice to see you, Rose. That's great. Thank you for saying hi. All right, and last person. It's one that you're all going to know. It's Jennifer Fox's fault. You're funny. Is this guy. Now, Rose, you're out, and Jennifer, you can't say, who's this guy? I want someone else to answer. We've got a few people live. So tell me, who is this gentleman at the piano? He is coming on. I'm really glad to finally get him. I have been wanting to interview this gentleman for at least 2 years, I think. We always pass and say hi to each other at conferences. And I'm like, hey, hi, great to see you. Let's get together. Let's do this. We finally made it happen, which I'm so excited about. Yeah, sorry, Jennifer. Come on, who's this guy? Someone must know. How do I point? There it is. It's hard doing it backwards, a mirror image. So we're talking a little bit about his story and how he built his publishing group, and also about technique. And it's something you might have seen him present about at conferences a fair bit. So the American piano technique, he's teamed up with a guy called Fred Karpov from Entrada, and they're creating some new resources for teachers around technique. Randall, Scott Faber, Sharon, you've totally got it. So Randy is on the show next season to talk about. We have a really wide-ranging conversation about all sorts of different things, because he's a fascinating guy, and he's been in the industry for a long time and created some amazing resources, and he's got some great ideas about technique too. So that's what we're going to be talking about with Randall Faber. So there you go. That is the summary. I think I've included everyone, I hope so, of what's going on in Season 3. So launch date is August 3, and these come out each Friday around 11 a.m. New York time. So for us here in Australia, normally Saturday morning you'll be able to wake up to it, have your breakfast in bed and listen to the beautiful Aussie accents and accents from around the world on the Creative Piano Teaching Podcast. So I've got to say also thanks to Sheet Music Plus, who are supporting Season 3, and so you'll hear more about them and some of their offers as we launch as well. So the best way to listen to this, if you haven't already downloaded it, please download my app. It's totally free. All you need to do is search for Tim Topham in either the Google Play or the Apple iStores, and you'll be able to get that. Now, I did mention right at the beginning, I showed the picture of this fellow, this handsome man. His name is Forrest Kinney, for those of you who aren't familiar with him. And he and I get on like a house on fire, as you can probably imagine. We're both very much into the creative pursuits of the piano. So my announcement today is that this guy and this guy are teaming up to put together some resources next month in August, all about lead sheets. So teaching lead sheets, teaching chords and progressions, and helping students understand how to use this. Because, it's really sad that even teachers I speak to are unfamiliar with the magic almost that is teaching with lead sheets, because it's not that difficult or confusing, but having a bit of a sequence plan of how you can introduce it to students, I think is going to make it heaps easier for teachers to try and integrate in their teaching. And I also, I get a lot of teachers who play in worship scenarios in churches and bands, and they tend to only use lead sheets. And so I get one of two questions. One is, hey, I've been asked to play in my church band and I've got no idea about how to read this non-written out music. What kind of sorcery magic is this? Secondly, I'll be asked by people who already play in worship bands and are really competent, how do you actually teach this? Because I've kind of always just done it and I don't know where to start. So that's what we are going to be talking about in August. And so we're creating a whole lot of great resources for it, training videos, and I'm really excited. I'm already looking forward to this. We're going to do a webinar together at the end of August, all about this, a whole idea of teaching via lead sheets. So lead sheets, if you're unfamiliar with it, is where you're reading music that just has the treble clef notated and the chord symbols above it. And in my opinion, it's something that every piano student should know how to do. And it shouldn't be something that we leave to 5 years into their training. It should be something that really starts really early on, because we can get our students playing chords pretty early, depending on the development of their hands. Maybe 5 and 6 year olds would struggle, but anyone around the 8, 9, 10 mark can be playing triads and playing lead sheet type music. And it's such a great ability for students to be able to do this, and I think it is so important. And so that's why I'm really focusing hard on it. Next month we're going to release a number of articles and resources, as I said, about it, and I can't wait to be working with Forrest, who is, if anyone has seen his workshops or seen any of his books, he's a magician. He's great. So that's it. Forrest Kinney just joined the live. Did he? Is Forrest here? Say hi, Forrest. That is great. If you are live, Forrest, do say hi. And for all those who love Forrest and all the work that he does, then let's give us a bit of a clap, bit of love. Show me a bit of a a heart or something like that. There's Bronson. Oh, by the way, behind me here, I don't know if you've seen this. Is anyone familiar with this? This isn't an acoustic. This is Kawai's hybrid piano. They've just released a hybrid piano, and I'll be doing a review on that in the next little while, next week or two. I've been enjoying practicing with it and exploring it in my studio, so more details of that to come. So I'll take down Forrest so you can see my cat just sitting there. Look at that. That's a Kawai advertising moment right there, isn't it? Hey. Yeah, he's looking at the birds outside. All right. So thanks everyone for joining me today. Absolutely great to see you, and thank you very much for saying hi and contributing to the discussion. That is awesome. If you've got anyone else that you think would value the podcast, then please click that share button. It means a lot to me to have other people find out about this. We obviously put a lot of work into how it all works and the show notes and getting the interviews organised. So the more people that know about it, the better. Really looking forward to releasing that first episode on August the 3rd. Was there anything else I need to tell you about? I don't think so. I think we're all looking good. And have a great rest of the week, everyone. And I will see you online. And I don't think Forrest didn't say hi if he's here. He may have popped in and out. But anyway, looking forward to working with him. All right, everyone. Have a great week ahead. And I'll speak to you really, really soon. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye-bye.